Hello and welcome to another update video about Natgas. It shows some signs of life. It's still too early to confirm here that a low has been made, but it's starting to look really interesting. Why is that? So first of all, in the last video, we were coming down here. I warned you about further downside. And you were among the few who knew that we could expect a reaction around the $2.08 level. Yeah, when did we turn around? Turned around at $2.07. Why did I give you that target? Not 2.7, but 2.8, which is very close. Because if we measure the length of waves 1 to 3, and then we go to the high of the fourth wave, then you can see here, this was our target, 2.08. Yeah, it came down to 2.07 pretty much, just a tiny bit lower, but I think it was pretty much turning around at that point, because the 61.8 extension is an ideal target for the fifth wave. Yeah, and that's sort of where we came to. I then highlighted to you, if we lose that level as well and sustain below that level, next target would be 193, but maybe we don't need it. So this could be a very first indication that we're turning around. So we have the very first the few comments to make here. So the first is, if we see a reaction like this, it's something I absolutely don't like, because this move up has limited structure. Okay, so it's basically just a straight line, but you could argue that we had a 5-wave move up, but it is a little bit unclear. There is not enough structure for me to work with. What would be ideal, and that would be what I prefer, to now hold support here somewhere in this region and make one more high. And then I would say we had a possible 5-wave move up. So it's a bit difficult to count that, because, okay, I could count, say okay, wave 1, wave 2, maybe this was a 3. This could be a 4, and we get one more 5, one more wave up in a 5. But the thing is, either way, I think you could argue that maybe we had an impulse up here already in a wave 1. Yeah, it's not enough structure really to work with, but it is important that we broke above our key level here at 231. That's the previous wave 4 high. I'm pretty sure in the previous video I highlighted that level, because it's the previous wave high. So when you go above that level, there's at least initial confirmation or an indication that a lasting low has been made. If we now see a corrective pullback that holds in a certain area, which I will give you in a minute, then it is the second step of confirmation, as per Elliott wave, that a trend is changing. And if we then rally above the recent high at 237, that's the third confirmation. You don't get better confirmation, okay? And confirmation doesn't mean certainty. It's all probabilities. So I think we need to be ready for a turnaround now. I think it's a good initial signal. It's too early to confirm that a low is in, but it's a good indication, at least enough to make you aware that things could be changing here. So the point is now, whatever Natgas is doing, it needs to hold above the 213 level here. That is the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement. And as long as it's holding above that level, there's a good chance the low is in now. So we could argue that maybe this was a wave 1 to the upside, even though it lacks structure. Maybe this is already the wave 2, which is coming down here. Problem I have with that, it's coming down very impulsively. But either way, as long as it's holding the 213 level, I think we can have a possible turnaround. And if it then breaks above this high, then the most likely the low was in here. Yeah, and we can expect a rally to higher prices, which we talk about in a minute. So strategy wise, what does that mean? That means we have a possible 1-2 setup here, which means exactly in this particular area. This is a possible entry point. At the moment, it is, I would say, not a highly reliable entry point, but it's the best we get at the moment, okay? This is pullback area. So after a possible trend change move, this is the pullback which will decide. Yeah, the market will decide, do we now hold a higher low? And if we do that and then rally above the previous high, that's confirmation. Now, that doesn't mean you have to wait to buy, for example, until we break above that level. You could do, yeah, if you're a breakout trader, but if you're a pullback trader, you could enter here. But be aware, below 213, it most likely won't work out. So it's actually, let's say, The reward to risk ratio is quite decent here, because what's the risk and reward? So if we say, okay, let's say hypothetically you have a long position, you could enter maybe now, or even scale into the support area with 2 or 3 limit orders. Just give you an example, no financial advice. Depending on where you set the stop loss, you could even set it below the last low. Now, what do you risk, right? The risk is, what is it? Not a lot compared to the reward, because the reward, I mean, if this works out, let me zoom out, then this could be now the wave 4 pullback that we talked about in the overall downtrend. So you could trade the wave 4 rally. Now, and again, there's no guarantee this is going to work out, but it's, there are no guarantees in financial markets, right? But we have a very first initial signal that the low could be in. So if you take the length of the third wave down there, yeah, so we talk about at least 317 it should reach if it works out, yeah, possibly all the way to 443. So that means you have a reward to risk of a minimum 6 to 1, possibly even 10 to 1, and in the best case we talk here about 13, 14. That's a phenomenal reward to risk ratio. Now, even if we head down lower and your stop loss gets triggered, then I mean, we are still, I think, sort of fairly low to, or fairly close to a turning point. Yeah. So you see the buyers are starting to step in. So even if this might not work out and we head down lower, then you're looking for a lower entry point. But the reward to risk is starting to get interesting. Now, again, there's no financial advice. This is only the very first initial indication, and to really confirm here low, I need to see more price action. Okay, but it's starting to get interesting. Okay, and that's my update about Natgas. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.